Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk and happy Halloween. We are here on this Sunday, October 31st, 2021, to go over a four-game small slate today in the NBA. And we are going to hit that regarding DraftKings prices. We also will go over some FanDuel at Yahoo suggestions as well. But really hope everyone's having a great Halloween so far. We're putting this podcast out early enough that everybody hopefully has a chance to check it out between trick-or-treating and eating candy, my favorite part of Halloween, and getting some winning lineups up there. So first of all, as you step in here, if you're on YouTube, quick thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. That's really important to us. And also a quick comment. Yes, no, maybe, whatever you want to put in there. Enjoyed it, question, whatever it is. That combination really helps us move up the algorithm on YouTube. And while you're at it, hit that little bell button in the top corner. That will let you know when podcasts are posting. And we're always posting in front of the paywall for basketball, football, baseball, and golf, our four main sports. So DFS CoachTalk.com is where you can find us. All right, first game. It is a 7 p.m. Eastern game, and it is the Utah Jazz at the Milwaukee Bucks. Really good game, two good teams. Utah is favored by 1.5 on the road. That's not going to make the Bucks fans or Crash Davis very happy. But the over-under is a nice, healthy 223. The implied total for Utah is 112.5. And for the Milwaukee Bucks, 110.5. So there we go. We've got, let's look at any injuries here real quick. Rudy Gay, questionable. Mike Conley, probable. He sat out last night. He doesn't play basically back-to-back, so he'll be back in the mix. And then we know Drew Holiday remains doubtful, and same thing with Brook Lopez. And DiVincenzo will be out for an extended time. So they're still missing some of their key players, that's for sure. And so, that does put some of the onus on some of the other guys. Let's take a look real quickly at the Utah Jazz first. We've got Conley coming back fresh at 5.8K. Certainly hasn't knocked it out of the park this year, but he's been solid enough that you can consider him here. Donovan Mitchell at 9K. He was solid for me last night. That's a big price against tougher defense, from the Bucks, in my opinion. Bogdanovich, O'Neal, not that you haven't really put up the big numbers you'd expect. Same thing with Ingles and Clarkson, and they lose some of their punch with Conley being back. So really, it comes down to Rudy Gobert. Can you play him against this team with Giannis? We had this discussion earlier with Pirtle and the Spurs this past week. How does it fit with no Lopez in there? It changes the dynamic for the Bucks, and therefore it may change the dynamic how Gobert does against them. He is 8'4", which is a lot. He is leading the league in rebounding, so he's going to hit the glass. And it's tough because they don't have the same type of rebounding without that combination of a lot of Bobby Portis, and then of course with Brook Lopez in there. So it's tempting to want to pay up to Gobert. I don't know if I'll really go there though. On the Milwaukee side, without Holiday, you still have a fair price Chris Middleton at 7.5. He's been steady. Giannis is all the way at 11K, but it's a 4-game slate. So there's an early game that it stands alone in these 4 games. So when it's only 4 games and you don't have Giannis and he has one of his monster games, that's important. Now, he didn't have as good of a game last night, so it'll be interesting to see how he comes out against a crafty Utah defense. I'm probably not going to go there. I don't think I'm going to go to Giannis. I think, I'm more interested in possibly looking at a Middleton or even a Connaughton off the bench, or going super cheap with a Hill or Allen. So Still have to determine that game. Tough one. I mean, it's a good one to watch. 223 is a decent number, but yeah, it's a tough one. I think that this game, could stay close for sure, but I'm not seeing the person or persons that are going to blow out the slate here. So let's move on to game two. Game two is also 7 o'clock. It's the Portland Trail Blazers at the Charlotte Hornets. Now, this game I really like. This is the game with only 4 games. I'm going to stack up a little bit. You can do that more when you have this small of a slate. First of all, you've got a hotly contested game. Portland favored by 1 on the road. 230 over-unders, the biggest, definitely by a healthy margin. And here's the nice thing. You've got both of these teams with a phenomenal implied total. Portland 115.5, Charlotte 114.5. So all kinds of interest in this game without question. As far as injury reports, you have Terry Rozier probable now. So he should come back and be in that rotation today. And Tony Snell probable as well. So very odd to get 2 teams at full force here, but it looks like that's what we're going to get. So let's talk a little bit about, certainly the potential for Dame Lillard at 9.4. If Rozier's back and healthy like they say he's going to be, he'll probably get that assignment on Dame, and Ball will probably guard McCollum. I think Dame's still playable. They will come in with Cody Martin to guard him as well, can be an irritant at times. But Lillard's still playing well, not quite getting the numbers he did, but can be considered. McCollum at 7.7 is a nice option. I think, you can look at him. Norm Powell's only 5K because he's been out most of the time. Certainly an option. Nurkic is a guy I'm really looking a lot at too. He's only 7.3. That mid price, and he's a guy that can put up some big numbers in a close game. So he's in play for me. Nobody's jumping off the bench for me at Portland. But on the Charlotte side, you know what? I really like LaMelo Ball. He's had some phenomenal games, a few off games, but at 7.8, I think he's really fair priced. When he goes south of 8K anymore with as much as he handles the ball and his usage, he's a big play. So he's probably my favorite on the Charlotte side. Other than that, though, now that Rozier's back, is it going to affect some of the output of Gordon Hayward and Miles Bridges? They've both been playing well. I actually like Hayward a little bit better this time. He's only $200 cheaper than Bridges, but Bridges is going to get Covington defense. And I know Bridges has blown it out, but he's 7.4. So, leaning more towards Ball and Hayward in this game with either Lillard or McCollum on the other side or Nurkic. Plumlee's center, 6'1", 6.1. He gets rebounds, he defends, but you just cannot count on his scoring and certainly not his foul shooting to get those extra free points. All right. Before we go to the other 2 games, just real quickly, check us out, dfscoachtalk.com. If you're listening to this Sunday morning, you want to get involved for NFL today, it's not too late. Just jump on dfscoachtalk.com, sign up right there. We'll get you right into our Discord. If you want to check us out or send a message on Twitter, we're at DFS CoachTalk. I'm at Joe Sarvadi, JoeSarvadi. And we'll get you in there. You can get as little as a 3-day pass for $10. If you want to check out all of the basketball and football, and of course, the World Series is going on now. For the next 3 days, you're going to get all kinds of a combination of those sports. So we would love to have you. All right, 2 games. We've got the 7:30 Eastern game, Detroit Pistons at Brooklyn Nets, only at 215 over under. And Brooklyn's favored by 13. So sort of the double whammy for us in the DFS world. A big double-digit spread and a low over-under with a 250. Big-time, important game in DFS. Detroit's applied total 101. Nets, though, 114, right up there with the Hornets for the highest implied total on the slate, second highest, I'm sorry. All right, where do we go here? Harden had a Harden game the last time, like 19 foul shots, figured it out. He's back in the mix. 9.9 is fair for him on a slate of this size. The problem is you've got Durant at 10.5. So you almost have two guys 10K or better on the same team, which goes to tell you how much the other guys are doing nothing. So, it's really come to the point where you either play Harden or Durant and then somewhat move on. Bruce Brown at 4.5 can be okay. Harris at 4.4, Griffin at 4.6, Mills at 4.2. LMA's playing more now at 4.8. So they've got all their other guys, their 5 next best players, all in the 4s. I've never seen that with 2 guys basically at 10 and 10 plus, and a bunch of guys in the 4s. So it's, we all try to reach down and grab that extra Brooklyn guy that's going to get it done, but I just don't think you can afford to do it on this small of a slate. You don't really have to go there. So to me, it's, the decision becomes, is it Harden or is it Durant? I'm actually leaning toward Fear the Beard here because his defense he's getting is going to be a mixture of Killian Hayes, Cade Cunningham, Josh Jackson, whereas Durant's going to face a decent test in Jeremy Grant. He'll probably get, some other guys like Kelly O and Sadiq Bey on him during the game. But again, you can't go wrong with Durant. I wouldn't blame you for that. But I'm more than likely, not positive, but leaning towards Harden there. And that's it on the Nets side. On the Detroit side, it's interesting. Cade Cunningham's playing. He's only 3.6, but it's a back-to-back. He hadn't played all year. I have to see the news as the day goes on and see what they're talking about. Minutes limit. Is he going to play, sit? So that's up in the air. If he plays, I think you can talk about it a little bit, although he's going to get Bruce Brown defense, which would hurt him for sure. But a consideration. The guy that I like a little bit better and the most on the Pistons side is Sadiq Bey. He's really been stepping up, being a main scorer for them. He's a fair 6.5, so he's at the lower end of that mid-pricing group. Just like the fit here against Joe Harris and some guys that are going to guard him. I think he fits well. And that's about all I'm going to go there. I don't like any of the bigs on either team here. There's going to be a lot of rotation and sharing of the ball. All right, 3 hours later, we have the game of the night, which is the late night sweat hammer game with a 3-hour in between. So interesting. You got Houston and the Lakers. Houston's bad. Lakers are 11.5 point favorite. It's a 222.5 over under. The Rockets 105.5, Lakers 117. So do you save some spots here for this late game? I think there are some really good spots, and this is a game, where I'm going to have some definite exposure. So, you'll see me with some Portland, Charlotte quite a bit, and Houston Lakers, and then some one-offs really at best from Utah, Milwaukee, and Detroit, Brooklyn. So let's talk about real quickly here. As far as injuries go, we've got, and I didn't mention this, so I'm going to go back real quickly here. Livers and Smith are out for Detroit. Brooklyn, it's Claxton, Irving, and Millsap are out. So you'll still get a big rotation at the bigs, even though Millsap and Claxton are out. You'll get Griffin and LMA and some Durant, etc. All right, wanted to mention that. So Houston and the Lakers. Houston's 1-4. Lakers are 3-3. Porter is questionable for Houston. That's massive news. We need that news because if he's out, it changes the dynamic. All of a sudden, Eric Gordon's a great play. Jalen Green's a great play because Porter is very ball dominant and he is initiating the offense. House and Wall are out for the Lakers. Davis is probable. Ellington and James are questionable. So here we go, back into the James questionable every game scenario. I think he plays personally. Ariza, Horton Tucker, and none are out. So Lakers have been stung pretty good by the injury bug this season. All right, so we can break this down right now as if LeBron's playing. Again, jump in Discord with us. We're going to be following this news closely. I love playing the NBA on Sundays because you've got 90% of the DFS world just focused on NFL, and you can really get some lots of fish in there, to be honest with you, that aren't following the NBA close enough, that are just looking for some action there. And so, we love that. All right. So news on both sides will determine everything. Let's say Kevin Porter plays. He certainly has a chance to make my lineup. Jalen Green does as well. They're two chuck and duck guys, but they're 6K and 5.6, so you got to consider. Christian Wood, 8.1, is somewhat in play. And the reason being is, as lauded as the Lakers' interior defense is, centers have been doing better against them this season thus far. So, Wood at 8-1 is a lot. But, with the high over under here in this game, I think he has a chance to have a nice ball game. After that, you've got some reaches that maybe fill in a roster spot, and Jayshawn Tate at 4.7. Again, if Porter sits, Eric Gordon at 4.8 is a great play. Don't think you have to go down as far as Şengün or Nawab or Augustine, those guys. So mainly the key guys, but all of that dependent on the Porter news. Again, we're going to expect LeBron to play. If he does play, a couple of guys here that I do like. I think Anthony Davis at 9.6. He's probable. He's definitely going to play. He's a good guy to look at here. I think Jayshawn Tate will guard Russell Westbrook. And Russ, when LeBron and Davis play, hasn't been as effective. So I'm probably not going to go there. LeBron is 10K. If he's a no minutes limit guy, you can consider him. You got to fear the blowout here. And the veterans aren't going to play super extended minutes. Vogel does not do that. So you can roll the dice, with a Monk at 3.7, Carmelo at 5. Even Austin Reeves, he's really in their rotation, really getting solid minutes, and he's still only 3.3. So he may be that value chip, the value card, if you will, to make a lot of other things work. So I'm going to consider him in this game because he also probably gets some extended minutes if it does blow out. So I think he'd be a nice value play. But probably going to go with one of the studs from LA, being either James or Davis, depending on the news. So good 3-man exposure in this game. Probably a 3-man exposure, like I say, from the Portland Hornets game, and one off from the other two games, Jazz, Bucks, and Pistons, Nets. So I think you can come up with some solid builds here. You can still be contrarian enough, even though it's only a 4-game slate. I think it should be really competitive, very interesting. So definitely looking forward to this NBA, even though it's a short slate. I like the bigger slates, but I do like the dynamics of how this rolls out. And I think we can really get after it and make some good money. So really appreciate you. Check us out, dfscoachtalk.com. Make some comments here on YouTube. If you're listening on audio, almost forgot to say it. If you're listening to our audio podcast, today's the last day to sign up to win a free full week membership, all access to DFS Coach Talk. All you have to do, regardless of what podcast landing space, if it's Amazon, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, iHeart, all of them. They all have a ranking system. If it's a 5-star or whatever the ranking system is, if you put that down for us and give a quick comment, enjoyed it, love the pod, whatever, that combination of those two things gets you in the drawing. Joe Stanton will be pulling that information for us tonight, and we will announce the winner on tomorrow, Monday's podcast, of who won the 1-week membership. So please take advantage of that on the audio podcast side. We'd love to have somebody jumping in with us tomorrow for a free week. All right, that is it, my friends. A lot quicker show today with only 4 games on the main. Hope you have a fantastic Halloween. I know I'm going to try to eat as many Reese Cups as possible. That's the goal. But no, that's not good for me either. But I hope you all enjoy it, and hope you crush football with us. Andrew Hansen, Joe Stanton, and Crash Davis have some fantastic NFL lineups for the day. So come and join us at dfscoachtalk.com. Have a great Halloween, and we'll be back with you tomorrow when we look to crush it in DFS.